25, Town of Southington Board of Finance meeting. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, the roll call, Ashley?
You got it. Okay. Roll call. Chair John Larry,
Here.
Vice Chair Joseph LeBennett,
Here.
Secretary Edward Pocock,
Here.
Kevin Bedoin,
Here.
Stephen Salerno,
Here.
Katie Wade. Here.
Okay. We want to have action on the approval of the minutes. We'll start with a motion, then if there's any discussion or changes, we'll bring them up.
I do. I have a,
You have a motion to approve first, a second, then we'll adjust.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, a second. Any adjustments or corrections to the minutes?
yes, I have,
Okay.
right, the organizational business, number 3, subsection 2, where the paragraph says, Mr. Lebenik nominates John Leary as chair, Joseph Lebenik as vice chair, and Edward Pocock Jr. as secretary for year one of a 2-year term with the Democrats. I want to add in after Democrats, assuming and naming a chair and vice chair in November 2026, with Mr. Pocock remaining as secretary. Just adding the word assuming and naming.
I think that falls within the spirit of what we said,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just,
so. No objection there. We'll add in, assuming chair and vice chair in 2026, November. Okay, any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain. The minutes will carry 6-0. What I'd like to do is move up, because we have Joe, the insurance consultant, on the phone. I'd like to move up our entire discussion on self-insurance from Section 7 up to now in the agenda, if there's no objection.
Nope.
No.
All right, thank you. And we have, so what, a little bit of teeing this up, what had happened was every year or every term, we're asked by the town council to name people to the different town council committees. Town council chair informed me that there will not be a self-insurance committee. He asked for names for the other committees, namely Economic Strike, where we named Kevin, Sewer, where we named Katie, Public Works, where we named Steve as the Democrat and Ed as the Republican, Open Space Ed, and then for self-insurance, when he spoke to me about it, I told him to talk to Joe, who'd been the chair of self-insurance for
Number of years.
10 plus, more than that, number of years, and they had a discussion, and now we're here to talk about self-insurance, because the town council will not have a self-insurance committee will not be a committee of the town council. So now our dilemma is, well, we need information from self-insurance. It's a significant portion of the budget, so we're going to have to handle it here from the Board of Finance. So, Joe, if you take it from there and help understand, Kevin, what we,
Yeah,
how
sure.
we want to put it together.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to jump in, and we have Joe Spurgeon on, who's been our consultant for a number of years, so he'll run through the budget. I think, a number of things that were really, supporting this. Oh,
Just don't know how people say.
is the audio. So we've had, and Mr. Reed, I would know this, we've had real difficulty establishing a quorum. And that has been regardless of the time of the meeting, the day of the meeting, or the members. That's been a real difficult. I think that's a disservice. The majority of decisions that we're making are financial in nature. It's one of the largest line items in the budget. We're talking about our reserve position. We're talking about our reserve policy. We're talking about stop loss. We're talking about the split between the general government and Board of Education. The decisions, obviously, the Self-Insurance Committee was a committee from the council. It went up through approval, through the budget, through the Board of Finance, ultimately to the town council. Again, Mr. Bedoin can attest to this. There's been frequent changes that the Board of Finance has made to the budget or to the use of reserve funds. And I think the feeling is that being one of the largest line items in the budget, being so critical to the participants of the plan, the residents of the town, and just, again, all taxpayers, that we'd be in a better position for all six of us or for the entire Board of Finance to, handle this on an ongoing basis directly. I think it removes the filter of what goes from the representation on the Board of Finance on the Self-Insurance Committee from Board of Finance representatives to the Board of Finance. I also think it increases transparency. Those meetings are open to the public. The reality is these meetings are videotaped. They're more well-attended. And I think the discussions that we have and, how we move forward as a collective board with respect to the Self-Insurance Committee, it will be more transparent to all parties involved being handled at this board.
I just want to hear that, or ask if we help like we did. We had that setup. We had the elected officials, and we finance.
Mr. Chair, I don't know if you want to, the Board of Ed is here. I don't know if you want to have Ms. Mellett come up for the conversation. Mrs. Mellett is here.
Or in the
representing Board of
future,
Ed.
she can, because she didn't know, this is, the process, just like we didn't. And we had a town individual too, Sal, who was very knowledgeable. I don't know if we can, we can reach out.
Invite him, I've invited Mrs. Mellett.
Right,
all
that's
the
what I
four-
meant.
If you want to just, we send out a notification to him if he wants to attend as finance wants to kind of
Because he was the most,
knowledgeable.
knowledgeable, yeah, because he used to do what Joe Sturgeon.
invite him if the board is.
I think it would be helpful.
Yeah, if that's,
If
Kevin,
he's
if that's-
willing to do it, yeah. I haven't talked to him, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, I mean, my only question would just be, and again, I think maybe whatever you think here, Kevin, maybe we could be more strategic about the meetings we invite. I don't know if he needs to be here every month. I
Oh, no,
think,
no.
Yeah, I think there might be more important times. Yes.
right.
Okay. Just for kind of in consideration of him and his schedule.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, the very important ones that we're kind of making decisions.
I want to make sure. Joe, could you hear us on the phone? Okay, thank you.
I think the reality is, I think tonight, and again, Mr. Bedoin and I have been, through this, for a number of years. I don't know if anyone else, I don't believe, Mr. Leary, Mr. Pocock, you've served on the committee before. So there certainly is a learning curve. And, Joe Spurgeon will be great, I think, of, kind of walking us all through it. We'll ask questions and we can, go back and forth as a board. Again, I'll say, I think that as we work through this process, we'll end up in a much better place being handled here.
Yeah. Having the Board of Finance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So do we want to take up?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you come on up, yeah. Do we want to, let's take up the self-insurance right now because come on and sit with us, sir.
Okay.
You can
You
go,
may be here a while.
you can go right here if you want, it's easy, closer. Well, let's take up self-insurance now and let's, because we have to get prepared for the budget, right? We need to know.
Yes.
It's critical timing.
So unless anyone has any other comments or Mr. Bedoin, anything else to add, I would probably recommend that Joe Spurgeon, our consultant, both introduces himself and starts to walk us through the materials that he sent. Joe?
Go ahead, Joe.
Sounds good. Is that okay? and I. Self-insurance committee. Budget projections, other things, right? It really. Budget projections during. How to split the overall cost between the town. Typically, this time of year, projection, and I'll talk. But, I. Some direction there.
Yeah, Joe, I'd encourage you to move, quickly, and anyone on this board will, I assume you're fine with this. We'll just be quick to interrupt and ask questions or jump in. We won't wait until there's a break in the action.
Okay, great. So if you have. One thing I'll just encourage you to do is all the detailed documents. There's some important. No, this is just admit. For those of you who don't know, we'll find out. What that means is that study can really serve. Self-funded group, you are liable. But Anthem really just serves as what we would call like a third-party administrator. So what Anthem does for us. They provide customers. In order to protect you against. Over 500. Southington's only liable for. As well.
I'm sorry, can I ask a
Quick
question?
analysis of stuff.
Sorry, hi, it's Katie Wade. Is our stop loss only individual, or do we also have like
Aggregate.
an aggregate stop loss?
Yeah. You guys had,
Individual only, okay, thank you.
yeah, yeah. Some plans that I agree. Okay, so if that's good, what I'll do is I'll claims are shown here. So that always do the current. What we claim. That's important when we talk about the. That means is that those over stop loss. Those claims. Probably draw your attention to. August, September. Was our worst month in the. Started off the year pretty good. But I just want to note that projections, last month year high. But overall, we're claims to be actual claims. But what I will say is that whole cycle between, 2009. And then they were open. Thanks, everybody. We were did. What I would say is that but I will say that
So, quick question.
you can see that stop loss has.
So what are we at right now through October between claims paid and our budget? Do you have that number?
I think it's different because we don't, I think what Joe said is, right, I think the,
Oh, against your budget.
I think the 10 million, we're about $1 million
I
under.
know you're talking, see that old, that's the. That the town used to share.
Yeah.
We're about $1 million under.
We have that
Yeah,
document?
yeah, we get it. Everything was it was in the meeting minutes or the meeting materials from last month. But because obviously, or not obviously, but we don't budget, or the town doesn't budget on a straight basis. So like
Right,
Joe said, we
exactly.
divide by 12, but
Is that a document we're going to continue to get?
yes.
We didn't get in a packet, right?
I don't think we got it in the packs. I don't think there's anything new from
I
last
would've
month.
asked that, yeah.
Right, because we didn't have anything updated through November. We just had it through October. So through
That's
October,
fine. I wasn't sure if
When it comes through, it gets updated.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But
All
it's,
right, go ahead, Joe.
it's $1 million.
Oh. I would. There's no benefits, there's no change in network. I would encourage. Third-party stop loss vendor. And then we seek reimbursement from the stop loss vendor. Sometimes. What we always do, but it does put some additional. Consider doing, we were gonna make loss vendor, we just wanna make sure that the reserve is gonna be. running really well. We can sometimes. Stop loss market is a little bit, majority of the drug claims.
Joe, can I ask you a quick
Joe, hold on a second.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
When you say claimant, are we talking about the individual patient or like the family unit or the husband and wife unit? You could have 4 stop loss hits on one family. Okay.
Spurgeon, Joe has his own stop loss. So please tell me. Talked about those large claims. Your net pay claims, right? So the 8. Total claims over 50,000. You'll see our average members. So a member. Also talk about contracts. So in 2021, your average members. Driving about 46% of your cost. 4% of your cost. Members are driving your car. Let's just kind of track how. So you compare. Right, that this is just a nice better when we're comparing the current.
Great, yeah.
There?
No, Joe, I agree it's a good report. Unless anyone disagrees, I would say we move on. Okay.
Okay, so, Kevin and Joe will. As under 12 months of claims. So, Sundance is a very large group. Look at your claims. Always gonna look at that second column instead of saying November 20. Probably regardless of how you present. But it's something I would like to do. Broken into 3 boxes. First section, actual experience. First column here is column and the column beyond. First column will stay the same. Earlier that a con. Joe Spurgeon, your employee, all of that. 12. In the second column, I got somebody real close. They've got 465. So our gross claims, slightly fewer, higher than our, actual. time. So then here's kind of where all the math. Fiscal year. 16. Trend month. What do we expect claims are going? What do we expect is going to happen with cost? What's going to happen with the utilization? Important to know about that and self-insurance is closer to the out, almost 2 full years. You'll see that it doesn't always improve the projection. It gets worse than our projection increase. But otherwise, if that stays the same over the next 5 months, every month we see some improvement in the projection. Trend factors going into account.
I mean, I would just add, Joe, I would just add, just for, just for context in terms of, like Joe mentioned, so the far left column here, that's the in-force, that will never change. We'll be getting an update of this every time. Prior to this with the self-insurance committee, we would make, or the self-insurance committee would make a decision that now that would get built into the upcoming budgets, and then there would be, we would call additional bites at the apple if the self-insurance committee wanted, up until March to make any adjustments. And as Joe said, that would be based on, updated and likely more accurate projections, based on building in less trend and more of our real experience. So we will still have, the ability to do that. It'll function a little bit differently here now being, at the Board of Finance. We obviously would, use whatever the most recent, or we would use that in our evaluation if we felt there needed to be any changes to what it was built into the budget. And then the way it functioned before was the town council always had the option to come back to the self-insurance committee one final time if they so chose to ask them to look at it again. But the bottom line is, again, just to reiterate what Joe said, the far left column here will not change. The columns to the right will change every single month. And as we get closer to finalizing our budget, we can decide if what was built into the budgets, we think should be amended. Joe, go ahead, please.
Trend that forward. Margin to add in here, we would margin back, added, added some margins. So then we get attorney. Overly significant on projections. We then take that for audience and projections. So we make some adjustments there, using plan. And then we would get claims. So, using that first expected trend, aggressive trend, almost 2% higher, a little 2% higher. That's driven. That are getting higher as well. So that is something in the market, really nationally, not just. First, if you want me to get back into that, I can. On the aggressive trend, I'm using 9.1. Something we typically thought, given this format, probably
Yeah.
a little easier to follow.
I mean, I would probably just suggest that Joe work through, and I think you probably work through the next page, at least the fees, a little bit more quickly. Thanks.
Okay, great, yeah. Okay, so then, next page, just talk. All of these assumptions, right? And the, admin fees, the discount sheet. It's an additional fee they collect that. What Anthem does is half a percent of the, lock that in, formula behind it, but I just assume the 5%. You'll see there's a negative number there, funded plan, Carelon, our PBM, our pharmacy benefit manager. 100% of those rebates come. Be in the first column. Of that 490. It's backed right out of the projection. Stop loss, even on. Couple last year and got some really. We'll have some good numbers, but we had a bad month, most. I think will generally. I think that number is conservative.
So I have a quick question.
So that would be.
At the top of each column, there's no heading. What is it, each column,
Oh,
year period or whatever?
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah, when I do the screen print, I didn't carry that over. I can do that. Additional RX rebate. So I said to. $0 admin fee for medical. That million in rebate. Enrollees in the plan on a per employee. Employee per year. And in the last box, in the box above, so it's prior column. Last year, we were at 30. Then self-insurance committee. Projection of 300. We don't have that adjustment line. It's been rare that we've made a trend that'd be 11.17%.
Yeah, and just to, Joe, thank you for that. Just to level set for everyone. So this report that Kevin mentioned earlier, this is the one that we get with our, or we will be getting with our monthly packet. So on this report, just to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples, so that's where on this you see this 31,976,000. So when you look at what Joe just walked through, the current fiscal year, because there are a number of moving parts, that's where the budget or the total projected cost really was combining that 33,078 into 347. So it was really the self-insurance committee ultimately for projected costs said, we think 33,426 is the number. Then the self-insurance committee said, but we want to use $1 million from the reserve fund to offset that cost. And then the Board of Finance said, we want to use an additional $450,000. So that's where you get to that net budget of 31,976, which that's what matches what's in this document right here. So when you look at, and again, we'll have to take action tonight, and we can all do whatever we think is best. You know, generally speaking, especially for the first vote, usually go along with the consultant's, most likely projection. But the big difference here is that we have, a couple of things to look at. One, what do we think the total projected cost is? And based on, and I want to make sure I'm using the right, I think it's market trend or market expected trend as Joe's calling it. So we're saying it's a 7.5% increase to the projected cost. If we didn't consider using any use of reserve funds, and we just said that's what the recommendation is, that's what we're going with, we're not recommending any use of reserve funds, that's where you see that 11% increase. It isn't an 11% increase just on projected costs, right? It's the projected cost, Joe's best estimate right now using a market trend is about 7.5%, but then it would be, negatively impacted in a sense of it's being higher because we're not using reserve fund. So, so how it's usually worked is, at the self-insurance committee meeting, we say, or the committee has said, what do we think is our best guess as to what the projected costs were going to be? That's usually the first decision point. Then the second one is, do we also want to use any money out of the reserve fund to offset that projected cost to get to our net budget? Kevin, is there anything you'd add to the process?
No, that's exactly how we did it. I guess the only thing would be, what is the current reserve fund? So, because that's,
Yes. Okay. So, and I think Joe could potentially talk to that. But just before we get there, is there any questions in terms of, I guess, the process? I know it's a lot of information. Again, we will get, Joe, I'm speaking for you, but I think you said it before. We'll get this updated every month. I don't know, and we'll have to decide. I don't know that it makes sense for you to necessarily attend every meeting. I think you can send this information to the board. I think the board is, will be free to ask any direct questions. Usually, there's a decision made or a recommendation made at the self-insurance committee meeting for what gets built into the budgets, before the end of the calendar year. And then, generally speaking, you look at the updated projection every month, and there oftentimes is an additional action in March. Joe, just because you can't see, there's a little side conversation going on, so just 1 minute.
we have to make a decision tonight?
And we have to make a decision, right, to build, we need
At
to have
least to
something to build
start.
into the budget.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's why Jen's here.
yeah.
He needs the numbers.
Okay.
I won't speak for anyone. Again, I'd ask Mr. Bedoin to please jump in too. There isn't a right or wrong answer here. It's a joke, but it's true. The only thing that's known is that whatever the decided upon number is, it's wrong. It's just a matter of, is it, to the degree to which it's wrong, is it up or down? It has generally been, I think, the feeling of the self-insurance committee, and I believe from both the government and the Board of Education, that the recommendation in December, if there was going to be, and this is just me speaking, so again, Mr. Bedoin, please jump in. If there's going to be a feeling or an inclination at some point in time to get more aggressive, to use a more aggressive trend to bring that number down, it wouldn't necessarily be at this decision.
Right.
It would be later on when there's more confidence. And the Board of Ed or the Board of Finance would have the budget at that point, or would shortly get the budget at that point in time. So for what that's worth, generally speaking, this has been the time to be, I wouldn't say conservative, but more in line with what the consultant's recommendation is.
Yeah, I agree. At this point right now, I would go with what Joe's saying, the market one, which is the 35 million, and doesn't consider any reserve reduction, right? Because it is a big difference, because we did use almost 1.5 million of reserves last year. So if you go from 1.5 million to 0, that is a big increase.
Yes.
You can see it'd be 11%. That's why I was wondering, what is the current reserves?
Yeah, Joe, do you want to speak about the current reserves?
And I know,
Joe, that's not a number that I,
finance, yeah.
Okay, fair. Thank you.
We'll report on self-insurance.
you mean like those, that year
Well, year to date, well,
overall projected, that one,
now, it would be what the current reserve is accumulative, not just this year,
Yeah.
but over all the years that we're sitting at right now.
Right, and I think Chrissy,
so I would refer that to the finance.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
So
usually finance, yes.
Chrissy, the town finance director, Joe Spurgeon, and I were on a call yesterday. She was looking into it. They're currently still going through their audit, so the whole IBNR number is not yet locked in, and she was looking to see where we landed. So I think she's working on that, and it would be available at the next time that we meet.
Okay.
So-
But that information wasn't readily
Okay.
available
So it-
yesterday.
Go with the best estimate from Joe, because we don't even have the number.
I think we can. I just think it's a matter of then what gets built into the,
Or we go
into the
on
budget.
not touching the reserves.
Well, yeah, it's not-
Yeah.
well, it's hard to make that. But I know, I guess, Joe, you can explain how the step down was.
Yeah, the way.
Because we've been using it for like 3 or 4 years now, so.
Yeah, we have been using it, so the way that and this will be something that this board, should certainly look at in terms of the, reserve fund policy, and I don't think we need to get into a detailed discussion.
No.
This actually might be worthy of a workshop at some point in time. I would imagine
Right.
maybe not a Board of Finance meeting, but the thought on the use of the reserve fund would be that it wouldn't go, as Kevin is saying, from 1.45 down, to 0. There would be a step down over a 3 or 4 year period where there's a little bit less used every year to help offset, the impact of what's again, not being offset by a higher utilization of reserve funds. So I think the thought would be, if it was, 1.4 million, it probably would be around $1 million this year. Then we'd step it down to, 500, 600,000 the following year, and we would eventually get down to 0. What no use of reserve funds is how the policy is written. It will be something, I think, I'd make a recommendation to the chairman that we would want to take that up, the actual policy on use of reserve funds as the Board of Finance. I think that would be an important thing for us to take up. It obviously won't be tonight.
Read the budget projection, and we'll talk about reserves and everything as we sharpen our pencil through the process. We just need an initial.
Yeah, and
initial
then
number to
the
start,
split is the next, yes.
and the split. But you've already talked about the split, no?
No.
No.
At any meeting.
It changes a little each year, right? It's
It hasn't-
small.
Right, it hasn't really changed much in the last year, and I can let Joe speak to it, but his next exhibitor too is going to speak to that.
Yeah.
But his comment just said the cost per entity analysis does not indicate any significant shifts.
And by the way, just to quickly fast forward to that, the way the self-insurance committee policy was written on moving the split was that there wouldn't be a movement if the recommendation was less than 1/4 of a point, and in no given year would there be a movement of more than 1%. So there is movement obviously permitted, but the way the policy was written, in order to provide kind of some level of balance and being able to work into a new split, was that it wouldn't swing 3, 4, 5 points in any given fiscal year. It would be there would be nothing done if the thought was to do less than 1/4 of a point, but in no year would it be more than 1 full point. So it is an important decision, but it was never meant to be significant swings. I mean, I'll say, because I've been kind of on record from from the Board of Finance, in terms of how the reserve fund is built, and what I feel our posture on use of reserve should be. We do need to get the final number. My full expectation would be that we would be able to use $1 million this year, as a step down from what was utilized last year. So, I think the 35,547 with some level of use of reserve funds, up to potentially 1 million would be appropriate action to take for tonight. I agree with Mr. Bedoin. I would stay with the expected market trend. I wouldn't move to I certainly wouldn't move to the conservative, but I wouldn't move to the aggressive either. And then I would say we will, as I said a number of times, but I know this is new, we'll get this updated every month, and we will be able to, to take action on this again. But from where I sit, I would say the 35,547, It's our best guess. It's reasonable. It's using market expected trend. I would suggest us utilizing reserve funds up to potentially 1 million. But if, if there's others feel differently, we can talk about, different amounts, because that's something that we can adjust down the road as well.
Joe, have you had a chance, if you dropped $1 million of reserve use into this projection, what the increase would be? It would go down from the 11% to a different, do you have that number?
I think it would be 8.
You mean Joe Spurgeon, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, yeah,
I think it would be 8%.
okay.
That's okay. Yeah, that's Joe's exactly right. It's, 34 million, 5 for 7, obviously. 4%? 9.9. Side on, if you side.
Hey, Joe, just so you know, I just want to say, because Joe can't see, there is some side talk on the board, so no one's waiting on you to say anything.
No, I'm just, because the big
Okay,
question
yeah,
is like,
I figured you'll tell me.
6 million? What was it? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to make a decision tonight. We're not.
Yeah, we looked at it yesterday and the information wasn't completely updated, so I
Was-
wouldn't want to say a
You wouldn't even
number.
give an estimate?
Yeah.
Sheriff, if I may, the way the agenda is written, I don't believe it's actually on for action, so I think the appropriate, all this right now would be to get a motion to adopt the initial.
Starts the budget, then we could adjust. All right, so why don't we do a motion? Want to do a motion on the split end, the 35,547? Yeah. All right, let's seek a motion to add the starting budget and the percent split to the agenda. Would somebody make that motion?
Make a motion.
Motion seconded by Mr. Benoit. So now that that's added on the agenda, now we'll seek a motion to give a starting number for the budget at 35,547 and a split at what?
Well, we have to do that.
Yeah,
I think we should do that separately.
all right. Let's do the motion for the starting budget. Anybody like to offer a motion
So we're just doing a motion.
for the starting budget
starting-
amount?
Yeah, I'll make a motion for the starting budget of 7,000.
Have a
Yeah.
second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion?
So, Mr. Bruno, you're saying you're not recommending any use of
Oh,
reserve
well,
funds?
that's why I was want, okay, then I'll take that back, because we got to include if we're doing reserves or not.
Yeah,
I
do
think.
we
Right.
want to at this
Alex?
point?
At this point,
Do we have to include it?
how does that affect your budget? That's the problem, we need to know.
11% is going to be a
No, I know that.
huge.
So the number we give you tonight is what you're going to start to
Mm-hmm.
put in motion.
And to your point, I'm not exactly sure when the next Board of Finance meeting is. We would present our superintendent's version on January 8th, and then we have workshops that following week, which I think are the I don't want to say the date. So we do have, thank you, we do have time to actually.
You'd rather start with 8 than 11.
I would, but, you know, I understand the hesitancy because we don't have the fund balance, and knowing what the fund balance, how we ended in June and rolling it forward for those 4 months is probably an important time for us to think about it.
Alex.
So,
I'll let her- If we don't add from the reserves today, when would the increase hit the employees?
Next
No.
question.
July
no.
1.
Yep, all right.
Yeah, no,
Time, all right. that's
yeah,
fine.
we have plenty of
What's
time,
gonna
yeah.
happen is
That's
The
right.
number we give her, then she starts to build the
She
Board of Ed
starts, okay.
budget.
That's
based
my
on
concern.
That
Okay.
number and allocation.
All right.
We're gonna
Nothing
get-
will hit till July 1.
And-
Oh, all right, that's,
And Mr. Salerno, the urgency is the Board of Education actually starts their budget a month earlier because they do their budget, the Board of Ed, I do mine with you, and they bring theirs to me to bring to you. So
Okay.
they've got to be a month ahead of us.
So if we get the reserve number, we can have the discussion again, like, how does that affect?
Right,
How does it
we would.
screw things up?
We would just make an adjustment. We would publish our superintendent's version using just the 35,547.
Yeah.
And our split of that, which currently is 74% to 26%. So we would have that in there, and we would just publicly say that that's the amount and that it is close to an 11% increase. So it's,
Yeah, I
and
know. That doesn't
we're
sound-
74% of the budget, so that's a very large number.
But that's a true increase, really.
Yes, right, because if
lot of-
we,
it's a huge
if we don't
increase in
use the, if we don't use the reserve.
But no one there's a good possibility.
Right, and the town office is the one who works on this, the fund balance, so that information would be available when it's ready from the town offices. It wouldn't be my preference to have that large number, but I understand the hesitancy because we don't know the true fund balance, so making a decision on the reserve at this time probably is not prudent.
Right. 2 more months of claims.
You have the date of your next Board of Finance meeting?
Mid-January, like second Wednesday in January. Third week in January.
Okay. I believe that's the week that we would have our workshop, so if you were, and it would be a Wednesday evening, so if you were taking action.
We would only know then 1 more month of claims.
Right, but by then we should have
Yeah.
the fund balance available. And so you would know, you would be able to look at the reserve conversation, knowing what the true fund balance was.
And I'm sorry, what's the date of you said the date of your first workshop is when?
This is the 21st, is that what you said?
Want to get a, all right, good things.
Let me just look at the calendar
We
and
can
I'll.
take a recess if we need to.
We could, but what, so just so I'm clear, what's the drop dead date for you that you would need a number?
Well, my budget is going to be published at the end of this month. So whatever number we agree on tonight is what's going to be in that initial. Then our workshops are, I believe, the 13th and the 15th of January.
Okay.
And then we have another Board of Ed full committee meeting on the 22nd.
I'm curious, would there be interest in us having a virtual meeting, or could we have a special
I
meeting on this
think,
next
Joe, I
week?
think we have to. I mean,
Yeah, would
I
that
mean,
make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay, I mean, I think, if the
right.
chairman, if, I think that can make
Yeah,
sense.
I think-
Yeah, okay.
Our budget's going to be presented. So the book will be, yeah.
What would you say
The
is?
worst-case scenario?
Yeah, your best worst case scenario.
So if I have, I would just have to change the one number, or it flows through. If I had it by January 5th, which is a Monday.
Oh, yeah.
That would still let us publish the book and get it to our board members in the timeline that the superintendent intends.
Okay. I think
I agree
that
with
could
that.
work.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would work.
So we could just have we could have a special meeting, a virtual meeting.
Yes.
This would be the only agenda item. We could get the information on the reserve position prior to that. We'd have time to go back and research this. I think that makes sense. It does seem like there's
It makes
probably.
perfect sense.
Okay, general consensus that the 35,547, as Joe's recommending, would be the good starting point, and then it's a matter of the offset potentially of the reserves. Okay.
I agree.
I think we should do, yeah.
Do you want to pick a date?
Yeah.
and Time now while we're all here?
I would be up for that. I mean,
Instead of going through email
Yeah.
100
yeah.
Are we looking at last week of December?
I think that probably makes sense unless anyone's traveling or
Well, it's
unavailable.
virtual, too.
It'd be virtual. Yeah, I just don't know if anyone's traveling
Yeah,
between
probably
Christmas and New Year's.
29th or 30th.
Yeah, you're right.
Tuesday, the 30? How's Tuesday, the 30?
Good for me.
Yeah.
Tuesday, 12:30 at 7?
Oh, yeah, I guess we could do it in the evening. Sure. Yeah, it's virtual, right? Yeah. Okay. Does that work?
6, 7?
Okay.
7?
I don't care.
So we will note that as a special meeting. We'll make it hybrid or
Okay.
if you want a remote option, we could do a remote option as well.
Okay,
Okay.
It's going to be 7
Okay.
PM, December 30th,
yep,
in the same location.
got it. Yes,
I think so,
Yeah.
Joe. Yes.
Not getting away that easy.
I'll have November too.
That's perfect. Then your number will change a little, too.
Okay.
all right.
Right, Joe?
And then Joe,
Yeah.
yeah, the only thing I would say, I know we're getting, the meeting's getting long here. Did we want to spend 5 or less minutes on the split? Because we have to,
Oh,
we don't
yeah,
need.
we have to do that.
I mean, we can decide that at the same time, I guess, but I think we're all here. Joe's on the line. It probably makes sense and Joe, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay, I would say, Joe, on the last page, I would say if you could do 5 minutes or less just to familiarize ourselves with it, and then we can make that decision at the same time.
Yeah.
I think I can.
Okay.
So, yeah, so the, the cost for entity, the two important.
And should we be looking at the net, Joe?
The grade column.
We down here at the
Pardon
bottom?
me?
No,
Should we be looking at the bottom, the net?
within the
Well, so the
column.
committee's always looked at all of them, so the. Prior 3 years, the grade. 5.93. We looked at the first set of.
That's breakout right now.
7426.
So, Kevin, it's in that top left-hand corner.
Top.
That's the
Wait,
24.
70,
That should say 25.
what is it again?
Sorry about that.
7426.
7426.
That should say 2526, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a typo, I apologize.
But again, this is one where there isn't an objectively right answer. It's looking at, kind of a number of, as Joe said, a number of factors. And I'll just go back to what I said before. The current policy is moving somewhere from 1/4 of a point to no more than 1 point. So that could be something that we'd have to take that up with our motion as well, or with our decision as well at the meeting on the 30th.
I mean, I'm for keeping it the same.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to do it though, all in one at the next meeting?
I guess.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll do
yeah,
it.
okay.
Then that whole
Okay,
meeting is
yeah,
about closing
yeah.
this up.
Do you want a motion to table the added agenda item?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to table.
I'll second.
All right.
Well, we have a motion to lay on the table in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, okay, we lay it on the table till January, 12:30. December 30, 7 PM.
Yeah, Joe, thank you very much. I know it's difficult to do it over the phone as well, too, so this was great information. Thank you.
I apologize.
No, I appreciate you doing it.
No,
Thank you.
thanks for
All right.
Thank you,
the
Joe.
great overview again.
Thank you.
All right, let me see what we can do to
Great.
help people who are here for a particular issue.
Just, Joe can drop now at this point in time, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Thank
Joe,
you,
have a
Joe.
good night. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye now.
We don't have any subcommittee, okay. Just want to try and adjust this agenda for the people who are here. We could take a two-minute break and then come back. So we have registrar. What do we have, public comments? Any public comments in our room? Okay. Subcommittee reports, we don't have any, right? We all got assigned. So let's take item 6 and say subcommittee reports. There are none at this point. Everybody's been assigned, and whoever the chairs are of those committees should reach out. They've been given the names, and then we'll have that. Fire Commission liaison, we didn't name anybody specifically to that, but we know we're going to have discussions about the fire department, so everybody's welcome to reach out to the fire commission, the fire chief, and all of them are ready to engage. So get prepared, because next month, the January meeting, we're going to talk about firefighters and what the chief said last time. There are some other items. I know I'm bouncing here, just getting through these. So no subcommittee and no other. So number V1 or Roman numeral 6 is done. Now we'll go to, so nobody here from the public for public communications. Correct, we'll call for public communications. All right, no public communications, so hearing none, we'll say we have no public communications. Any town department comments? Anybody representing a town department? Okay, we say we have none of that, okay. Registrar, okay, that would be your spot. Yeah, so, Tammy, come to the microphone, tell us what the issue is, and we'll see what we,
Tammy Thompson, Registrar's Office. I have someone in the office who's looking for extra hours, who's a salary person. Has not worked their regular hours for many years. I've been with the office over 4 years. And I feel that I said no, and the person said, well, I'll come in front of the Board of Finance. And I thought that person was going to be here tonight, but apparently not. But if they show up in the future, the little bit of extra hours that person worked doesn't nearly offset the hours that they haven't worked.
and I think you know that we're working on writing a
Yes.
policy, right? I think the best avenue is to put all of our emphasis, all of our focus on getting a policy that registrars agree with, town manager, town finance, and payroll say, yep, and finance board agrees with, and it's a collaborative policy. And that will have in it probably, most likely, a new pay rate. It will talk about overtime versus straight time and what triggers the payment of both. It will solve the issue of, I worked, somebody's 0 regular hours but wanted overtime, and when does overtime start and end? Hypothetically, it'll cover that. It'll cover the basics of what you have to do to say, I've met the requirements of the job because you really work for the state statute. So it'll all be in there. It's going to take a little patience. So right now, what's the problem? Does it need both signatures to approve a payroll? Is something jammed up right now?
It needs me to agree to giving the extra hours, and I can't.
So both registrars have to
Correct.
agree. If one doesn't,
Then
we're
we ask
deadlocked.
you to correct.
All right.
And-
So if I can give a little history, the other registrar handed me a piece of paper last week with hours going back over and above the quote-unquote 15 hours since the early fall. I know we're in the workshop phase. We're trying to work through a lot
Yep.
of these issues. I just wanted to talk to the registrars, make sure they were good to pay the payroll. There's a split. The office is not giving a approval, so the payroll department's a little jammed up. We can't pay payroll if we don't have a authorization
Okay.
from the, if it's 50/50, I have a half no, half yes. Yes.
You know,
So I can
I'm-
pay the base rate,
Yeah.
but at this point, I don't have authorization to pay the additional.
If it were, because we're in the middle of the policy, things are up in the air, there's I won't call it a miscommunication, but there's people following different things that they believe to be the right thing. It's ambiguous now, we're writing the policy. I would opt to not pay it under protest, but pay it knowing that we don't have a policy in place, say, okay, we're going to pay it, we've been paying this, since inception in certain ways. We pay it, but we have to focus on getting the policy out. And right now, people are confused. Do I get overtime? Don't I? If I don't do my regular hours, but I do some overtime things, should I get overtime? It's become a gray area, it's become a contentious area. We get it, but, yeah.
I just wanted to ask, because I wasn't clear, the overtime that's being sought, is it for hours in excess of 40 or in excess of 15?
In excess of 15, but the 15 have not been met.
But we're not paying like an overtime rate until they hit 40 hours? Or,
From what the registrars have advised me, and this is not a policy, it's just
Right.
a past practice, they were paid a stipend of approximately $23,000 for 15 hours a week of work. If they hit 15 or they didn't 15, it didn't matter. But if they got 0 one week and they got 20 the next week, they were getting paid 5 hours of their straight time to that 20 hours. Now, under the state statute, they're not our employees, so they're not eligible for time and a half overtime, just what they,
just straight hours above 15? Okay, thank you.
What's the dollar amount they're asking for?
I don't know off the top of my head. I just know, like, if you worked, He
You're-
gave a
You're
perfect
trying to make a
example. Here's the other
logical
thing,
case,
too.
that
It's
you
hard.
got to work your base to get your
Correct.
overtime, and we get it, and that'll come up in the policy. Right now, because it's ambiguous, I get a stipend,
Right.
okay, but I did extra, okay, it's all vague. That's why I'm apt to say, I know the amounts within reason, and I don't know exactly, but I'm apt to say yes, but saying yes just makes me more intensely focused on getting a policy, because it can't be ambiguous. It has to be offer acceptance, performance, consideration. It has to work.
But we don't need to make a decision tonight, right?
We have to break the deadlock.
well, you don't need to make a decision tonight because
The
the other
individual is
person
not
isn't
here.
here asking for it.
until the decision's made, I'm just paying the straight stipend rate. I don't have authorization to pay anything more.
But do we need a request from the other person before we have to take this up, or do?
The other person was supposed to be here.
Well, that's the issue.
Right, so I-
Right,
That's part of the issue, I guess.
right. So the other person isn't here asking, so
And I'm not voting for that.
This is basically a heads up, I guess.
Okay.
Okay,
Then we'll
right,
we'll
that's
take it as that. We'll do nothing now. If the person comes and directly asks at a next meeting, if we don't have a policy in place by then, we'll make it happen. But we need to have the policy. So please, the input, just even individually, doesn't have to be together input. Each registrar can provide input to us that we'll put into the policy. And then
I
we'll
am
have to-
working on the job description. I pretty much
Okay.
have ours done, and now I got to break it down into the others.
Wonderful. Yeah.
But
And then
I'm
I
working
do
on it
hope
by
we
myself.
get one policy, everybody works under it, we agree to it. Maybe everybody won't agree to it, but we'll use the board and we'll come and we'll agree to it, and we could always change it later. If something doesn't work and somebody says, this policy is just not working, we're not able to deliver the election under the rules of this policy, we'll look at it again. But we've got to start with some framework, or we're going to have this all the time. These types of things occur. It's just a misinterpretation or a stretch interpretation, and here we are.
okay.
All right,
Thank you.
so thank you for telling us, and
Thank you for
we'll,
your patience
Have a good
tonight.
night.
Appreciate it.
okay. We're done with town comments. We're done with the workshop calendar.
The workshop calendar is included into the packet. The proposal was to get it posted by the end of this week, but if you all have any,
And that's the 4 workshops. I didn't spot it, I didn't dig for it.
I'll tell you what.
Could be 4 workshops, right? And they're timed,
Yep, we have.
Like we always do.
February 18th at 6:30, February 24th at 6:30, February 26th at 6:30, and March 2nd at 7 o'clock.
or it's normal stuff. And if we get close, we'll cancel the 4th. That's what we've always done. If not, we'll use the 4th. And one of them, just so you know, the process, well, I could have a whole story. Now it's not the time.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
those
Process-
are those are the, on the
Okay.
calendar for,
March
Work
4th, March 11th, March 18th, March
yes,
19th?
yeah.
Yeah.
2 scheduled, 4 on the calendar.
Okay.
In case you need a total of 4.
So let me take a minute. One of them, we send out instructions to the departments. They come before us and say, let me tell you about our budget. What did we do? How did we save money? What's one thing we want to highlight? I forget the exact instructions, but they come and they tell us, well, how did they save money? What are they doing to save money? What function do they provide for the town? What's one thing the world may not know that they do and they're proud of, and they come and they present their budgets to us. Then we have workshops where we sit around a table in the finance conference room and we work through the budget. We talk to each other, we have the book out, we go line by line, department by department, questions, and one of those meetings, we invite the Board of Ed. They're not there to, again, I say this right to them, but they're not there to horse trade with us or say, hold on a second, you're wrong. They're there just for consultatory. If we turn around in that meeting and say, hey, could you clarify, they'll jump right in and clarify. If not, they don't say much. They're not participatory in it, they're consultatory in it, which is good. If we have to ask a question. Town manager, finance director will be in the meeting with us as we go, because they have to keep score of what we're saying, what we're doing, how we're adjusting the book. And then in the very end, they'll come up with some penciled motions. And then we come back to our regular meeting, and they're penciled in based upon how we left it at the last workshop. And then we'll leave it at that. And then that meeting ends, and we go for pizza, and it's all over. That's kind of how it goes down.
Much more enjoyable than it really.
But it's good. It is line by line. It's item by item. What can we do? Have we thought of this? Have we thought of that? But it is getting late. I want to just try and move quickly and not tell a story. So, anybody here for any other reason? Anybody? No. Okay. Let's do the administrative business, and then we'll the health check of the town, we could just zip through quickly at the end. So administrative business, the consent agenda, one more time for everybody. It's money received already in our hands that we have to appropriate back to the department and the line item. A typical example is there's not one on here, but a typical example is an insurance claim. Somebody smashes up a police car, we get $3,000 from the insurance company, we have to give it back to the police department on the vehicle maintenance line so they can go fix the police car. That kind of thing. Money in hand. So what I'd like to do is take all these together, I'll read them, and then somebody will just make a motion for them all together. Appropriation donation, $500, Special Revenue Fund, Unico Bright Lights Festival. Number 2 is an appropriation, $250, Sons of Italy Bright Lights Festival. The third one's an appropriation, $1,115, Youth Services Outside Collections. The fourth one is an appropriation, $28,520.29, Special Revenue funds for the Finance Department from the National Opioid Settlement. Money received, we have to appropriate. Do I have a motion for all four?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Kevin motions it, and Mr. Pocock seconds it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Consent agenda carries. The next ones we'll do one by one. First one is a department transfer, $40,000 even, town manager, corporation counsel, town attorney.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second discussion. Alex?
As you may be aware, this position is still unfilled. It produced most of the legal work for the town for the past 2 or 3 years. The town attorneys had a very de minimis job when the corporation counsel was there. That job is being absorbed by the town attorney, so we are relying upon them for more of the day-to-day. I can report that Friday of last week, I did hire a contracted corporation counsel who worked directly for me, not for the town council. That attorney's from New Haven. He's has years and years and years of municipal law. He's working for the town attorney rates. So we're going to rely upon more of him for the day-to-day to keep the town running a little quicker without the.
Any more discussion? So when you see town attorney, that town attorney is consultatory to this board and to town council, if we need him, clarify the charter, or can I do this, can I do that, under FOIA, blah, blah, blah. They work for the elected. The corporation council, the job Alex used to hold, works for the town. So if we buy a building, have a planning and zoning issue, buy the parking lot across the street, that should all be done by corporation council, but we've been stretching town attorney to do that. Right? Is that a good character? So this gives us, now we have a outsourced corporation counsel. Any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstain? Number 1 carries 6-0. Number 2, department transfer, $557.70, planning and zoning vehicle maintenance. Why did we pull that one out?
It's
Because asking,
Okay,
yeah.
anything over 500.
okay. Any, we have a motion on
I'll make
it?
a motion to approve
Motion?
the transfer.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
6-0 carries. Next one's from contingency, $23,665, general fund, finance department, regular wages.
Mr. Chair, the next 3 are all for current employees that are working, the temporary employees that are there to get.
Alex, the finance individual, what do you have, a 6-month contract, and you extended it? Or he had a contract?
He doesn't have a contract. He's working with,
Okay, that's what I
that
thought.
this board has already appropriated
Yeah,
for
right.
him, and that, it goes. I want to ensure that he can.
This was through June then? Is that
This
what?
will be through June 30th. All
Okay.
these next 3 are through June 30th.
Right, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve that transfer for the,
We have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, carries 6-0. Number 4, contingency transfer, $60,000 even, Building department, regular wages, similar story, right?
Similar story, I can report, I did speak with the chief building official before this meeting. Staffing, he expects us to be within 2 weeks. So the inspections are within 1 to 3 days, so if you call for an inspection, as you may remember, it was over several, 6 months ago. Now we're at 1 to 3 days for an inspection. We are well within a month for plan reviews, even on commercial properties. We expect to be within weeks on all plan reviews. I think that's in place, and we're hoping to be able to carry that forward.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carries 6-0. Number 5, contingency transfer, 17,000, general fund IT, regular wages.
Again, another employee that was hired, these are all, this was a temporary employer with no benefits, brought on, actually has taken on more responsibility. The library is actually funding half of his salary right now. As you may be aware, the library has a lot more technology in it. That's being utilized times a day by outside groups. It has to be set up, and it has to be AV'd for, and has to be handled. So half of his time is being spent in the library doing that, which they are self-funding through their budget. The other part of this is he's been in the IT department managing those services back for us. So this gets him through the end of the year as well.
Are there 4 people in the IT department?
There are 4, there's 3 full-timers, and there's a 4th that's kind of a temporary.
And that's this?
That's him, yes. 3.5 because he's half detailed to the library.
Gotcha.
Make a motion to approve the contingency transfer.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Carries 6-0. Okay, now the things we didn't look at were just the overall health check of the town. It's in our packet. Ashley, you want to just go down it quickly? You don't have to spend a lot of time on it because we're,
Absolutely. For revenues, we are currently just under 651,000 over what we budgeted. The biggest contributors are the interest income for 490,000 and town clerk fees for 274,000. On the next page, we have our contingency report. Based on those that were just approved today, that was a total of $100,665,000. Based on what was previously approved in today's approval, our remaining budget is now $690,796.
Okay.
There is also our interest up through November, our short-term interest, we are at $169 million. Our interest rates are ranging 3.3% to 3.77%. The town has been working with the bank relationship manager to try to keep that interest rate as low as possible for as long as possible. We did not drop that full quarter as anticipated from the last meeting. Long-term is holding steady at 3.3% interest, and as of November, our balance was just over $20.5 million.
so we got about 190 million invested. 170 plus 20.
Yes, the total.
Okay,
Do you want me to continue for the unassigned fund balance? There's no movement from the.
no, that was that
Okay.
schedule we had targeted. It's
Yeah.
in here. If anybody wants to walk through that, I'm happy to walk through that because I built it, but it's a little confusing to look at. But when everybody wanted to reach for the unassigned fund balance, we started to make a projection and said, how much do we have and how many people have earmarked something, so 2 people don't grab at the same amount.
Mr. Chair, happy to report there will be an increase in that fund balance at your next regular meeting. We plan. So, about
650-ish?
6 change. I don't know about all the broker fees, et
Yeah.
cetera, but yeah. Well, it should be.
Good. And that law is just the the footprint of the building that's sold?
In a little bit of space from behind the building just to satisfy the planning and zoning requirements, so we didn't need a variance. We didn't want to create an illegal lot. We wanted planning and zoning compliance.
Okay.
There's all
That's
those-
for dumpsters or something like,
Yeah.
not parking?
There's some parking, but there's going to be a perpetual, so we gave them, they're going to get the land with a perpetual easement back for us to use the land. So they are going to own some of it, but we will have exclusive use.
All right. Just make sure we understand that when we go further. All right, let's go down to board communications just for a second. We did the workshop calendars. Couple things I want to make sure we're talking about. Next meeting in January, we'll talk about the fire department and their need for, the request for more firefighters. We're going to have the discussion on legal matters, both the signed pro legal matter and then all the other open claims, just a summary.
That'll be
Not-
executive session.
Yeah, again, not by item, but just in general, in executive session. What are our claims? What does the legal landscape look like? We could talk the registrar's policy a little, Ashley, if you want to put it on, we could have an update on it. And then one thing I'd like to ask, if there have been people getting excited about, not excited, but their heightened awareness about the revaluation. So in January, we'll have the assessor come, talk about revaluation, how the mill rate was reset. We may have to look at that very carefully, because it's not the point of revaluation to garner more revenue for the town, it's to spread it equally. So we want to look at that. So let's have the the assessor come and tell us what the new rate would be and what the changes were in, commercial property, business property, multifamily, single-family, land, how our grand list moved with the new revaluation. And then people have been asking about abatements. So I was wondering if you could ask the assessor, if the assessor could post on the website, and the data that's out there is not easy to understand. I have it, not straightforward. But if we can get a list of all the abatements, what the property is, the owner, and when the abatement was granted, when the abatement, began, when it expires, and what the abatement is. A summary so people can go out there and look.
Do you want commercial ones that are temporary
No, all of them.
for all of them?
Yeah, they should be able to see, go down it and say, well, who has an abatement, who doesn't?
Okay.
You could leave off business property. I know the state has some rules on property and engaged in business. That,
Personal property for manufacturing
Yeah.
is 100% exempt.
yeah, that we can keep off of there. This is, we'll say, let's focus at the real property, if everybody's okay with that. That'd be every house, every church, every hotel, every new business that got a 5-year or 10-year. Just a little bit of terms, just so it has to be in plain language, because the one that I received is hard to read. There's A's and B's, and if you don't know what A is, I couldn't really figure it out. I think we've covered the agenda. I know we bounced around in the essence of time because we had a lot of things. Anybody feel we missed anything on this agenda?
No.
Okay, then we'll ask for our favorite motion, Kevin. Oh, Steve's got to learn our favorite motion, or Katie?
I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 8:52 PM. Thank you, everybody.